right? I remember going to bed with like gel in your hair, like in college and stuff, and I'd be like, oh man.
Yeah, both of my older sons have hair just like I did in high school, and I'm like, I feel for y'all.
Yeah, enjoy it while you got it. Enjoy it while it lasts.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Spill the Beans. Today I'm sitting down with my buddy Jake Sullivan. Jake's a member of my Mastermind Legacy family. Mastermind, he came through the Commercial Empire program probably a year and a half ago. And he lives here actually in South Carolina, about an hour and a half south in an area called Beaufort, where I do a lot of investing as well. But Jake's had a background in law enforcement, and his family's been invested in real estate. His grandpa invested in real estate, just, kind of picking up some properties here and there, but always did it kind of with their own hands, right? Never really put systems or teams or things in place. Always flipped the properties, did the work on the properties themselves, managed the properties themselves, bought it with cash. So he's got a pretty unique perspective on that side. And over the course of the past 20 years, he's picked up about 35 rentals. Over the past year and a half, he's more than doubled. He's done more in the past 2 years than he did in the previous 20 years, all because of coaching and a lot of other support networks and thinking more like a business owner rather than a solopreneur. So I'm excited for you guys to sit down with us, have a cup of coffee, and talk some shop.
Jake, what's up, buddy?
Not much, brother.
Welcome to Spill the Beans. So, dude, a lot going on. We were talking offline as we're getting some sweet tea and some coffee, a fa la la latte, right?
Yeah.
And while we were talking, just talking about different stuff, right? Obviously, we hit on a lot of different things on Spill the Beans. Anything entrepreneurial, anything wealth building related, anything real estate related. And you're like, hey, man, how's everything going? Woke up, feeling good, all this stuff. And obviously there's like a lot of things that people don't talk about as entrepreneurs too, right? Like you see the highlight reels on social media, but you don't really see the blooper reels of what happens in business and in life, right? With entrepreneurs. So we were talking about some of that stuff. And one of the things that I've been going through is like I bought 2,000 heavy value add doors in 2019. 2,000 heavy value adds, dude. Like I'm talking $10,000 to $15,000 per unit, right? On 2,000 doors. Like that's a lot of money you got to throw into these things. $20 million, $20 to $30 million of just renovations into these things. And then obviously COVID hits and there's just a shit storm of can't get anybody to work, can't get appliances, can't get mechanicals, can't get any materials. Material prices start skyrocketing. And then obviously you can't turn over non-paying tenants when you buy a value add property, and you can't do that for 16 months, you're in a tight spot, right? So like we're because we stuck to some of the buying criteria that we talk about, buy it at a wholesale price, create appreciation instead of hope for it, and buy for cash flow and all that different kind of stuff. We still turned a profit on every single deal that we bought pre-COVID. And so like we went through a bunch of them and we sold off some of them and all that kind of stuff. And it's wild to me that like you can't talk about some of those things because you got investors in deals, right? And you don't want somebody to think there's blood in the water and come and try to like make the deal a worse deal, right? Or try to take your legs out with an offer, or try to create any issues, right, for you. And then at the same time, like the investors are passive. They don't really know what you're going through. You're giving them updates on things. They're hoping for still this some sort of return that was projected prior to COVID.
Yeah, they want the grand slam and the singles they don't really like.
And they don't want any of the downside, right? Like you got to get, we were trading stories on some of that stuff. But like, what are you seeing like over the course of the past 12, 18 months? How have things changed? I know you've been investing since 2005.
Yeah, actually started around 02.
Yeah, yep. 02. So like, it's very rare for people to meet somebody and talk to people who've been investing through multiple market cycles, right? Like a lot of people got started in the past 5 years.
They didn't suffer through 08, 07, 08. Yeah.
So like, talk to me about, and I got started, I was more of a contractor, right? I had a painting company, I was a broker and that kind of stuff in 05, 06, 07, and 08, and then the market collapsed and I became an investor in 2009. So I was in real estate, but I wasn't really investing. But I've been investing when the market was horrible, right? But I never really had to go through buying at the top and then dealing with prices dropping as dramatically as they did. So tell me about like, what have you seen parallels from 2008, 2009 to parallels from like the past 18 months? And then I want to just dive into a bunch of more stuff that we've been working through and kind of where we think the market's going to be going.
Well, 07, 08, it hit everybody by surprise, I think, was the big thing. And so now you get everybody talking about, when's it going to crash? When's it going to crash?
Why was it a surprise?
I think things were just going so well. Nobody saw it coming.
You think people put blinders on themselves? Because obviously, you got the Big Short, and there's some people who are like, something's not right here.
Right.
They're giving money to, homeless people who have stated income of $400,000 a year, and they're like, yeah, here you go, right? So like some people saw it, but I think a lot of people, they ride the wave, right? They get into crypto and it starts going up, and they're like, it's going to keep on going up, and then it's volatile, right?
Yeah.
And there's market cycles all the time, and I think that's a very key lesson if you're going to get into business. In any business, dude, there's market cycles, there's economic cycles. You got to be prepared for those. And when times are good, dude, you double down on your work ethic, right? And you make as much money as you can, stockpile that money. And when times are bad, the way that you get out of bad times that I've always gotten out of, like over the past 18 months, right? Dealt with a lot of difficult is, dude, you double down on your work ethic,
Absolutely.
Right? You like massive action will fill any voids that you're dealing with.
Right.
So, all right, keep going about 2008, 2009.
Well, you struggle to get through it, but like you said, you just start working harder, and you make sure that when you bought, you hope you bought right.
Were you flipping?
Yeah, I was flipping and buying.
Buying and holding?
Buying and hold.
Okay.
Yeah. And luckily I was buying right.
Yep.
I'd paid attention to my grandfather, was very conservative. He was in the space
Yep.
Early on, but he did it the old-fashioned way. You pay cash, so you didn't have any debt on it.
Yeah.
And he did all the work, so the expenses on it were down.
Yeah.
So, but I took a lot of that conservative approach to it as well, which actually is what saved me when 08 happened. But now I look at it, and it's all about buying it right. You've got to buy right, because if you can buy it right, you're going to make it through any storm.
Yep. That's fascinating what you said about your grandpa, and like almost instilling fear in you of don't overpay, don't be stupid. Like my dad did that with me on a lot of different things. Like he's so cheap, not I wouldn't say cheap, he's frugal, right? He'll spend money on family events, dinner out, taking everybody on vacation, things that are memories. But dude, he will not spend money on liabilities of any sort. Like he will not spend money. Like I remember he wore a shirt my entire childhood, I feel like, that was a purple shirt. It said Dad's report card. He wore it like almost every day, and it said like caring A, loving A, supportive A, and it said allowance C-. Like let's try to get that last one up, dude. And he wore it all the time. It had mustard stains on it, and then it had like, he eventually got a hole in the armpit, and he would like put it on, and he'd put his arm through the hole in the armpit, and it'd be like flapping, or his sleeve would be flapping around up here. I was like, Dad, get a new shirt. He's like, I can't. I spent all my money on you kids. You know what I mean? Like you got to watch your dollars. You got to watch your dimes. You got to da-da-da.
I can remember when I first started.
It makes you like not be dumb, right? Like you're almost fearful of that. But
when I first started, I can remember like yesterday standing in his living room and saying, hey, I think I'm going to buy a couple of rental properties. And he said, son, you'll never make the money I did because you can't do the work. And I was like, well, okay. And it discouraged me for about a year. And finally I sat down and I'm like, with a pen and paper, and I'm like, yeah, I won't make what you made, but I can still make money.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do all the work.
Yeah.
And I had a full-time job, so I didn't really want to do all the work. So, and I think a lot of people now, when they're trying to get into investing, they have family and friends that are trying to talk them out of it. They haven't educated themselves. They don't know what's out there, the different ways you can do things.
Isn't it fascinating? Well, here's the thing. Your grandpa was probably a role model, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like somebody. So to be discouraged from a role model, that's got to be pretty tough. What I learned after like 2-3 years of like entrepreneurship and struggles, dude, I was taking advice from people who had no friggin' idea about entrepreneurship.
Not in the game.
Who were living like dude, they were living paycheck to paycheck. They had zero investments in themselves. Why would I take investment advice from somebody who doesn't have any investments, right? Not to say you're disrespectful to them. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, listen to their opinion, but if you buy into somebody's opinion, you're buying into their lifestyle.
Exactly.
Right? And so if you buy into somebody's opinion who who isn't financially secure, then you're probably not going to be financially secure either, right? But if somebody who is, then that's who I'm taking advice from. So, but yeah, I mean, absolutely. My dad was like, go get a job, go get a job, go get a job.
Oh,
like,
the whole system was, you go to school, make good grades. Why are you doing that? So you can get into a good college.
Yep.
Go to college, make good grades. Why are you doing that? Get a good job. And then you get the good job, you do well, so why? So you can get a raise.
Yep.
And then a good pension. And then what happens? You're so old, hopefully you got some grandkids to spend time with because you didn't get to spend time with your kids. And then you die. I mean, that's the whole system.
It's wild, man. It's
and
wild.
Everybody does it. That's the crazy thing.
It's so like I need to hire whoever created that and sold it so well that everybody adopted it. I need to hire that person on my team because they're the best salesperson ever to sell somebody into that hellhole of a psychology of like what life should look like, right? Like it just, I don't know. It boggles my mind, dude, that people are still on that path when they know that there's new opportunities and other things. And
you were talking earlier about, getting labor, materials and labor to get jobs done now. If you think about that, when I was coming up, that was the deal. Everybody had to have a 4-year degree. So nobody was going to trade school.
Yeah.
Well, we're feeling the effects of that now.
Big
you can't
time.
find a welder. You can't find a plumber, electrician, HVAC guy.
How much are electricians and plumbers charging on an hourly basis now?
Electrician probably $100-$150 an hour.
Dude, like starting attorneys, that's how they get paid. like what? You can go to a 2-year trade school and make as much as an attorney who has to go to undergrad and another 3 years of graduate school.
I can remember in 2006 paying an electrician and his assistant basically $85.
Yeah.
The electrician's making, $60 or whatever, and he's paying his guy $25 to be as an assistant. Now that same, to just get the electrician, you're over $100.
Oh, for sure.
It's crazy.
For sure. Dude, just a call to come out and assess what's going on at my house. I had the air conditioner or something went out, which is like 2 years old. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So they come out and dude, it was like $110 just for them to come and assess the damn. I'm like, are you kidding me? I bought this from you 2 years ago and it goes out and you're still charging me $110 for, I don't know, 30 minutes. It's wild, man.
Yeah.
It's wild.
But I think that we're starting to see a shift back to that. I hope that we are. I know where I'm at, we're starting to see more push for the tradesmen.
Well, it's capitalism at its best, right?
Absolutely.
Like prices obviously go up because demand goes up, supply is down. So all of a sudden people want to get into that new role opportunity, and it's pretty easy to kind of go and be an apprentice for someone and learn the trades. And you don't have to, you can go through trade school, but you can also just learn on the job with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, because everybody's hiring. I mean,
everybody is. Who's not?
Exactly.
Like I'm at Chipotle yesterday with my daughter, and we're getting a burrito, and they're teaching the guy on the line how to wrap the burrito and how to roll the burrito and how to fill the burrito. Like there was no training prior to that. He was doing it right there in front of us, which is, I get it, but like that's how desperate people are and how badly they need people. They can't even train them offline. They have to do it like while they're actually working because it's so in demand. It's wild what's happening with the labor force.
And I mean, like we were talking earlier, even in the flipping space, there's deals out there, there's money out there. The hard problem now is getting people to actually do the work. Yep,
for sure. We're working on bringing in-house construction.
Yeah.
So we had about 15 rock star laborers who work with a GC buddy of mine. I said, hey man, let's come to a deal, right?
Yep.
Like let's bring you in-house. Now we control the labor force. Total game changer for us.
And that's what we had to do too. I had to actually have in-house maintenance guys to handle our portfolio of rental properties, and they help us on the flips too when we can't get subs and contractors. So. But you got to do that in order to have control and to have somebody that'll actually do the work.
The whole vertical integration conversation. I remember early on, man, I had all these ambitions. When I first got started in real estate, I was like, I want to own a brokerage. I want to own construction. I want to own the management company. I want to have, obviously, the investments. I want to own this. And then I got into, like, really kind of growing my business and realizing I'm not good at everything. Right? And so, like, I need to focus on just a couple of things. So we just focused on the investment side, obviously. Got rid of my real estate license. Got rid of the management company. Went bonkers. Bought a bunch of real estate. Did awesome with that, but now we're at a point where I know how to hire people properly. I know how to manage them and lead them properly, train them properly, and I know how to measure them and their performance properly. And so now I realize it's not me that has to take on all these other responsibilities. I just need to find somebody who can run the management company. I need to find somebody who can run the construction company. I need to find somebody who can run the brokerage. And I realize the value going through everything that we've been going through of having everything vertically integrated. You know, I don't have like a warehouse of a bunch of supplies or anything yet, but like we're considering it, right? Like if we can control that, if we can control the labor force, and then we have our own in-house management, so we know everything's happening the way that we want it to there. Dude, you can really control your profit margin, right? And you can beat the market when a lot of other people have to go and pay premiums because they're not vertically integrated. You can go and actually pay a premium for the property, win the property because your costs to turn it over are so low, right? So it's one of those things that we've been really looking at over just the past like couple of months, man, of like, how vertically integrated do we want to get? Right. And we're in the process of doing it. We just hired another attorney that started this week. We made an offer for a traveling asset manager that's going to live on site at our properties while we stabilize them. And then we just cut a deal with this contractor, so to bring them in house with her entire crew. So yeah, it's fascinating on the value that brings. You know,
when I first started following you and and started researching all of this stuff, I think one of the biggest things that I learned early on was I don't have to do everything. Hire people.
Yep.
And letting go of control is tough.
Yep.
For any
Very
entrepreneur.
much so.
So doing that, I see where you're going. I mean, you can go as far as you want to,
Yep.
as long as you put the right people in place.
Yep. Yeah, it's finding the who to do the what, right? Finding the who to do the how, right? Like it's not, hey, Jake, I want to do this too. Like here's what Jake's got to put on his plate. No, it's like, who do I need to hire to take that on,
exactly.
right?
Yep.
Like the social media, right?
Yep.
You got a rock star in Megan over here, and she's taking pictures, she's taking video. I see you back there. Yeah, and but guess what? It gets done, right? Like,
absolutely.
Like me hiring Cameron's like, when are we filming this week? I was like, damn, I need to go and like block time to go and actually film, and she holds me accountable on a lot of that stuff. So,
and that's kind of the way we did with Megan too.
Helps the whole business grow.
You just tell me when you need me and where you need me, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
You put it on my calendar, I'm there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I got other things I need to do.
I love it. Yeah. So let's go back to parallels, differences, right? Of the boom in 05 to 07, and then the boom we've been going through the past couple of years. Obviously, ton of demand, but there's still a lot of hurdles, right? The eviction moratorium's just filled up or just opened up. The supply chain is still messed up. Like, dude, these cars, they're like these microchips, can't get microchips for any of the cars. They're like, it won't be fixed in 2022. Like, we're still another 15 to 20 months out at least in order to be able to even get these little microchips. So that's going to maintain, right? So like the entire supply chain's still messed up.
Yep.
The labor forces, dude, I feel like there's going to be just some big swings going on in the whole labor force and everything with all the inflation, right? Like we didn't really see inflation last time. Why do you think that was? Because they printed $800 billion, right? I mean, they printed $6 trillion this time, but it's a little different. But I think people were so scared last time.
They held their money.
They held their money.
Absolutely.
They didn't go out and spend it, right? They're printing $6 trillion. It just keeps coming in, dude. Where it's like, all right, let's go spend it. And that's why everything's going up.
That was the first time, I think, in our lifetime that we've seen a crunch like that. So I think everybody got scared and they didn't know what to expect. So what I get, I'm holding on to.
Right. And it's just a little bit different, right? The money just keeps on flowing.
Right.
And, now the government's idea and philosophy in solving all problems is just print more money. So I don't know how long that can sustain for, but I feel like eventually you put enough credit card debt on and you can't pay the minimum payments on it, everything collapses, right? Eventually you claim bankruptcy. So the government keeps on doing that. That's going to catch up, right? The chicken's going to come home to roost at some point. So what are you doing to secure your assets, to secure your money, to make sure that you're in a good spot, to make sure that you're not dependent on the government with your investments?
Basically,
with your finances.
Yeah, we're buying right, so we know anything that we buy to flip or to wholesale that we can actually take it down and keep it as a long-term hold.
Yep.
And we've got enough properties now. We've got a little over 70 units now, so we can go a couple of months where 10 or 15 people aren't paying. It doesn't break us.
Yep.
So we're insulating ourselves by growing.
What do you think that number is? How many doors?
Well, I can't.
Or maybe it's a gross rent number that it gets to a point where you're a little bit diversified enough and you've grown enough or you're big enough where you can sustain some of these like short-term struggles.
I think at 10 is where I can remember really starting to see making some money. And then when I got to about 30 is where, these are single family, so
Yep.
I got about 30 out. I could pretty well weather most storms.
Yep.
And we've doubled, more than doubled what we had over the last 2 years. So to get us at that 70 number. And now, with the moratorium, we had 20, 30% people weren't paying rent.
Yeah.
And we made it through.
Yeah.
And we're flourishing now because
Are you using third-party management or in-house?
We're in-house. Yep.
Have you guys done any like the? You're right on the border of South Carolina and Georgia, but you're in
Right.
South Carolina, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So I know in Georgia and some of the other states they have like these rental assistance programs. Did you guys plug in any of that?
Plus, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And we've been trying. Any of our tenants that would communicate with us, we were, hey, get on here, apply for this. We'll try to help you get through this.
Yep.
And for the most part, most of them have done it.
Good.
We've only had a few that didn't, and they just kind of fell off the map. And,
The game in the system kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So now that eviction moratoriums have opened up, have you been able to kind of clean house a little bit?
Yep. We're in the process now.
Yeah.
Yep.
But dude, think about that, man. It's been almost 2 years. It's been 21 months since all this stuff went down that you've had to go and figure it out, right? Like, and swim upstream. And it's I don't know of another industry. I don't know. Probably the hospitality industry for sure got hit probably the hardest. And I mean, but that's kind of a real estate industry, and bars and restaurants and obviously got crushed. But your landlords got friggin' slaughtered on this whole thing. So,
yeah, and we were still the bad guys.
Right. And
But we learned some lessons too. I mean, we're doing some things different with our leases now. We're not doing
It
everybody.
really makes things more
lease.
efficient, though.
Oh, absolutely. So we're now, shorter leases. Gives us a little more control because that was one way we were able to get some tenants out where leases were coming at the end. So we were able to move out people based on expiration of your lease versus non-payment. So, So now I like that. You learn some lessons and to be better prepared for the next time because we know it'll happen again. Something like that.
For sure. Right?
It always does.
It typically, like, what's the cycle? I think it's every 7 or 8 years something's supposed to happen. The last, I guess there was like a .com kind of bubble crash and stuff. But the last like real estate cycle was early 90s, 91, 92 or something, had some big issues. And then it was, 16 years before it happened again. And then, it's been 12 years after that. So it's like, it seems like they're going longer, or maybe there's going to be a
I think
big
that
one
recovery period just took a little longer, a couple of years, and then the cycle kind of started again.
Yeah. It's, but nobody's got a crystal ball.
Nope.
So
if we did, we'd all be billionaires.
Right. So what do we do to prepare for the next 5 years?
You have to, you learn your lessons, and people just getting into the business, they've got to get plugged into masterminds. They got to get plugged into rooms where, you're at the bottom and you're trying to learn.
Yeah.
You've got to learn from other people's, experiences.
I will say, I think, so you were talking about education and college and getting good grades, getting good jobs and all that kind of stuff. And I almost brought it up earlier, but think about what we spend to go to college or to send our kids to college, right? It's legitimately $80,000 to $100,000 for 4 years to go and get a job making X, right? Typically far less than that, right?
Yep.
And so, but then people won't spend 10, 20 grand on a mastermind, right? That can easily show them how to make $500,000 that same year.
I can remember.
It's wild to me, but it just
get it.
They're sold on one thing,
right.
Dude, and they're stuck in that mindset.
They've been brainwashed. I've got 2 college degrees that hang on my wall. They've never made me a penny. Never, not one penny. I got my real estate license. I made a good living off of real estate sales over a 20-year period.
Yeah.
But I can remember spending $500 to go to a small little mastermind.
Yeah.
And when I left from there that day, I did 2 deals on the way home and made $40,000.
It's insane.
On a $500 investment.
It's insane.
And
It's insane.
And
Not only the
just-
money you can make, but the money you can save, right? From
Right.
not screwing up, not messing around. And those masterminds, man, I remember when COVID first hit, it's an easy thing to like drop off. Let me make sure that I cancel that, save a little bit of money, and save my $1,000 or $2,000 a month or whatever it is. Dude, those masterminds is what put me in the right mindset, because I put myself around other high-level thinkers
getting in a room.
who aren't
Yeah.
emotionally making decisions, right? They're logically looking at a situation, dissecting it, trying to figure out what are the different moving parts, what are the best paths forward, right, in order to combat whatever's happening right now. Dude, and that was like, it was the best investment, right? Not one that I was trying to cut. I was like, damn, I need to jump onto more calls and talk to more people
Right.
who have
And that
gone through some
relationship
of this.
capital you get from it too. I think that's something a lot of people don't pay attention to. You want to get there to see what the mastermind's all about, what the presentation is.
Yep.
But if you just focus on that, you're going to miss so much, because getting in a room with other people that are doing what you want to do, and you can sit right next to them for a day or 2 days or whatever, however long the mastermind is, it's conversation that you are getting so much more out of. And I think people miss that.
I mean, like, guess what? We're in the world of information, right? Like the age of information. Like, you can find everything online. You can find all the technical knowledge online. What you cannot get is the relationship capital.
That's right.
What you cannot get is having a beer with somebody, thinking, all right, I understand your business, you understand my business, and we're having a beer, or we're sitting out on paddle boards, right, in the bay, or we're hanging out and shooting hoops or whatever. Dude, like the conversations and the depth of those conversations that would never occur if you're just sitting in behind your computer watching things on YouTube. Not saying keep watching YouTube, right? Like, hey, we want to keep that rocking and rolling. You get a lot of insights on this, right? But the relationship capital of being in a room of somebody who understands the investing in themselves, right? Of somebody who understands, like, Jake, I believe enough in myself that I'm going to go and invest 10, 12, 15 grand a year into myself. Dude, that's a different type of person, right? Like, so you know there's a minimum bar of type of individuals that are in that room in the first place, right? Who are investing in themselves because they're paying attention to the future and where things are going, right? And it's, dude, to be able to rub elbows with those types of people and not just talk, surface level at lunch, but really have a beer late night, or we're going to dinner a little bit later on, and I can't imagine where those conversations are going to go and what could pop up. And you're like, hey man, I can help fill some voids here. Bratz, can you help me fill some voids over there? Yeah, and then all of a sudden we do $50 million next year together.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what could come from it? Who knows, man? It's a drop in the bucket, especially for real estate is such an amazing vehicle to build a lot of wealth. It's a no-brainer to be in like a real estate mastermind or a business mastermind, because if you know how to make money with it, dude, it's sky's the limit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just being able to have that relationship capital and to meet you. You invited me out to dinner one evening. While I was there was other, investors there, and I was able to do 2 deals while I was there. I mean, I get invited to dinner and, making deals happen.
Yeah.
So
and that's like the cool part. Like, people think, like they want to come and see me, like, and that's cool. I appreciate it. I know a couple things about business, but I don't have it all figured out, right? Like, the magic happens by me putting rock stars in the room.
Exactly.
And then it's something magical that occurs. And then what's awesome is, like, I get credibility for it, right? Like, I get, hey, thanks, Tim, you did awesome. I was like, I didn't even do anything. Like, you made money with all these guys.
Right.
I just put the pieces together. And so, like, it's a really powerful just concept to put high-level people in a room together and see what can come from it, right? Napoleon Hill's been talking about it for 100 years. And Think and Grow Rich, and what's the other one that he's got? The something of Success, I can't remember. But like, all those books are like, they talk about masterminds. They talk about getting yourself around other people. And I think one of the big things for me was not only getting myself around other people that were doing great things, but also eliminating people
that we're not,
right? And not that they weren't good people, but they were negative. Maybe they were tearing me down, right? Maybe they were holding me back. Maybe they were just stagnant in what they were doing, and maybe that's okay for them. It's not okay for me. And by just limiting your association with those folks, on accident, other things fill that void, right? And other people fill that void.
You've only got
and
so much
chances
time.
are, if they're on a positivity scale or a goal-oriented scale, they're a 2. Chances are you're going to find somebody who's at least a 4, 5, 6, 7 that's going to fill that void. Yep. And naturally, you're going to keep on elevating. You know what I mean? Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, do me a quick favor. Give me your best takeaway so far from this episode of Spill the Beans in the comments below. Smash the like button. Show me some love, please. And also, share this, subscribe to the channel, so that way you get all the new episodes of Spill the Beans. Appreciate you.
All the information's out there. YouTube, books. Mm-hmm. I can remember reading Robert Kiyosaki's with the cash flow quadrant.
Yeah.
And, you're an employee, small business, big business investor, right?
Yep.
And I wanted to get from the employee down to here to small business. And then I realized I just traded this job for another.
Yeah.
Right? So now you look at big business and you're like, well, that's 50, 100 employees. Not really. It's what is your big business where you don't have to actually operate everything.
Right.
So that could be 5 people. That could be 10,
As long as it's not dependent on you being there. Right?
But you don't realize that. Well, I didn't anyway. Reading the book, it's when I got around other entrepreneurs that I realized it doesn't have to be 50 or 100 employees. It could be 5. It's just where you don't have to operate everything.
Yep.
So
it's dude, there's this. That's a tough, hell zone that you go through, man. Like you're solopreneur. Maybe you got one or 2 employees. You're making money, and then all of a sudden you're like, I need to hire more people, but it's a hard pill to swallow to write a big check. Right, and take on a $50,000 a year salary or $100,000 a year salary, it's very intimidating to do that. 2 things. One, realize that it's not a $60,000 check, right? It's a $5,000 a month check.
Right. I just said that to somebody.
It's a big deal. It's a big difference.
Absolutely.
You're not taking on a $60,000 risk. You're taking on a $5,000 a month risk for 3 months, 4 months. You're going to know pretty quick whether or not that individual is delivering, right? The other thing is, all employees, all team members should be an investment, right? Meaning you're writing $5,000 check, they should be delivering at least $5,000 of value. Chances are it should be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 of value on a monthly basis based on, and that's easier to quantify with salespeople, right? It's harder to quantify on the administrative side or some of the things that aren't measurable, and quantifiable right then and there.
They're measurable, just not in dollars and cents, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like in time and in buying back your time, which allows you to go and do some other stuff. So you need to figure out that piece. But, dude, if you can get past the mindset shift of understanding that employees are assets, right? They're great. They're great investments. You're creating an opportunity for somebody else, and at the same time, they're helping build your business. And if you can get past that hell zone of $1 million to $5 million a year in revenue, dude, it's easier to build a bigger business than it is a smaller business. I was like, I need to get through this phase as quickly as possible because I couldn't do it. And the thing that I did is I just joint ventured with people, right? Brought on Fatty as a joint venture partner because I couldn't afford him as a salaried employee. Paid Matt Carlin $50,000 a year because I couldn't pay him more, but I gave him equity in deals.
Right.
Nick Burton got profit share.
And if they've got the right mindset, they see that's more valuable anyway.
Guess what? Now they're all vested into equity.
Right.
And now they're all making several $100,000 a year in salaries as well, right? So they got it. They got the vision. What I had to do, and what you have to do, and what any CEO has to do is paint the vision.
Right.
You gotta say, hey, here's where we are right now. Right? Here's the kind of culture we have, right? We're not born with a silver spoon. We're going to work our asses off, and here's where we're going though, right?
Yep.
You give this 36 months, I promise you, it's going to be pushing hard, and I will reward you, right? And the right people you will adopt, and those are going to be great people to build your business with long term.
And I think something you do is similar to my management style. I always say my people don't work for me; they work with me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I see that.
I hate saying when people work for me. I hate saying that.
And I've met a lot of your staff and your team, and I can tell they see that too. So that's that's
definitely.
big too.
It's just it's different psychology, right? I don't want them thinking they work for me. I want them thinking we're collaborative.
I'm not the only one going here. I want you to go with me.
We're all going.
We're all going.
That's a great point. But I will say it's way it's way easier to build a big business than it is a small business, right? Like I just brought on a second attorney. I hope nothing ever happens to Fatty Bomitri, but if he gets hit by a bus tomorrow or something, right? The other attorney can kind of fill in so the entire business doesn't collapse.
Right.
Not trying to be insensitive, right, to anything happening to anybody on my team, but like I'm actually being more sensitive because of all the other people are not adversely affected because one person falls off.
Right.
Right. So back to your point of like not being reliant on you as a CEO, you owe it to the rest of your team to build a business that isn't relying on you. So if anything happens, I say hit by a bus. What if he wins the lottery and quits? Right. And he's like, I don't want to be here. So we can go positive with it if you guys want to go that way. That's probably a little bit easier.
I'm sure Fatty would appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. And well, guess what? Everybody else isn't adversely affected on the team. If somebody says, hey, I need a personal break, I need to go and raise my kids for 2 years and then I'll be back. Like, guess what? Now we have options, right? Because there's multiple people, right? There's multiple asset managers that can relieve Carlin from his duties if he needs to take a break and just go to Europe for 2 months or something. He can do that, and we can still thrive, right? Burton's got a couple people who underwrite deals for him. Really, I'm the bottleneck probably, right? Creating the content, but I shoot content 1 day a week. And then I have an amazing team that takes that content, cuts it all up, and disperses it throughout the week.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm less needed, right? I'm needed maybe a couple times a month, but other than that,
everything keeps
they
going.
can repurpose, right? Yeah. So it's easier to build a big business, right? Because you have multiple people who can fill one seat versus just one person. So as soon as you can push through, man, that
we just had this conversation with our team because one went out with COVID, and so I said, look,
yeah, there you go.
You've got to learn her job. She's got to learn your job.
Mm-hmm.
So all three of them now are learning each other's jobs, so that when one is gone, we keep operating, we keep rolling.
Yep.
So
exactly, and it was just, I was two-faced. I had a bunch of A players. I had a bunch of A players. Now I have like A players that support those A players, which is like, dude, I can't imagine what next year is going to look like for us because I have like, dude, I don't know. I have 2 in-house attorneys. Like I'm almost thinking like I want to start a law firm that invests in real estate. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want this to look like. The slip and falls never be an issue again, right? Like claims and landlord-tenant law never an issue again. We'll just send one of the attorneys over there to deal with it. It's there's levels upon levels, right? Every level, and there's tough pills to swallow.
Yeah.
$130,000 salary, right? Another $90,000 salary, another $120,000 salary, right? But these are people who are used to making multiple hundreds of thousands, and I formulated a deal where it was less on a monthly, but a little bit of profit share and that kind of stuff. It's like those are big, very, very qualified people, but that's how you get to that next level, you know?
And talking about next level, in Orlando, I was at a table, won't do a lot of name dropping, but some high level people, and they've got a whole nother set of problems I never thought about.
Yep.
I'm not there yet. I want to get there, but it's interesting to see it now from where I'm at, that when you do level up, there's a whole nother set of problems you got to deal with. So
another level of success, another level of issues.
You can't just do a mastermind, like you said, 36 months minimum. You can't just do it for a little while, learn a few tricks, and then go.
I got to figure it out.
Yeah,
no,
because it's
not like that.
Guess what? You're going to hit another wall, and you need those same people to help you get through it. So
it will continue to happen. It doesn't matter what level you get to, dude. You think Jeff Bezos doesn't sit around with a bunch of executives and brainstorm ideas on how to grow and how to break through hurdles that they're facing? At his level, they're still doing that. Right. Elon Musk does the same thing, right? He's getting together with other billionaires and they're brainstorming ideas, right? You see it at, you see it all the time across the board. Like, you always need that support group. I don't care what level you're at, you need some sort of support group to help you continue leveling up. And I think masterminds for small business owners are the best way to do it. Until you can bring on a board of advisors. It's why businesses, Fortune 500 companies have board of advisors, right? People who have 40, 50 years of experience running billion-dollar companies, sitting on the board, coming in on a quarterly basis, essentially doing masterminds.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing, but you don't have to pay somebody $250,000 to come in, 4 times a year, times 8 people, right? You're talking about $2 million a year. You can get into a mastermind for $1,000 a month, right? Or pay for a one-off deal and just kind of test it out and feel it out. Join a meetup group, right? That meets up for coffee, you know, and then just keep on leveling up, man. Like I started with a free meetup group. I had my own. And I'd say, hey, who wants to go out and, you know, I called it Cleveland Entrepreneurs and Business Owners. I had one in Charleston too. I think it was Charleston Entrepreneurs and Business Owners. So I had one in Charleston, dude, and I was a, you know, some clown kid, right? Like, but I put a group together and all these people started joining this meetup group. And then I just get together and say, hey, happy hour over here. And we get together, and somehow I got a bunch of credibility because I was the organizer of it. Did the same thing in Cleveland. We read a business book once a month and got together, and then I'd bring in an attorney or an accountant or somebody who's great at marketing or somebody who's great at HR, and I just have them come in and talk about business
And
stuff.
you get all the credit.
And I get all the credit because I'm the one who put it together.
That's right.
You know? So when you think about you don't have to be the one that delivers the value.
Right.
If you're just a leader and you organize it, you get all the credit, all the credibility from it, from somebody else bringing value to your organization. So even if you don't have a local group that you can plug into, start one. Start one and just bring in professionals that you're working with or who want more business and have them, hey, come and talk to this group for an hour. You know, like that's how I got started. And then all of a sudden it came to a point where I said, hey, who wants to go to a one-day mastermind, and then we'll go to a suite at the Cavs game, right? $2,000 a head, and I got 15 people. I asked probably 22, and 15 of them confirmed.
Yep.
And now I'm like, oh shit, there's an actual like business here, right?
Right.
Like I can actually turn this into something potentially. And did it again, and now it's, you know, multi-million-dollar business on the mastermind consulting side, which is cool. But more importantly, dude, it's relationships. It's us doing deals together. That's why I do it, right? That's why we, like, I don't know if you've been out to any other like big events or summits or anything like that. Dude, nobody pays for fucking breakfast. Nobody pays for lunch. Nobody pays for like a night out dancing, food, drinks, and all that kind of, like nobody does that, right? You're maybe a happy hour for an hour or so.
Well, I just want to say,
convention.
everybody that's getting to go to Vegas, that was my idea, remember? You remember? We talked about it, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
You can take credit for it, but
I'm going to take credit.
It's not until after the event that you might be like, I don't want to take credit for that anymore.
Maybe not.
We'll see which direction this goes. We got a fun crew, you know?
Yep.
We like to have a good time. But like, my point is like, dude, we redeploy all of our money back into the mastermind. We got obviously a bunch of overhead and staff and stuff like that, but dude, we just keep on dumping more money into the mastermind and having the best events and bringing out great speakers.
A lot of fun.
And wanting to reinvest, because dude, we make way more money doing deals.
Right. That's
than
what
we
it's
do
all about.
from the consulting side. So it's like, how can we create an amazing environment of rock star entrepreneurs that we can do more deals with?
Yeah,
you know?
and when you get there, you know, and not tooting your horn, but when you get there, there's not the salesman in the back, hey, you know, upgrade this, you know, none of that.
No.
It's genuine, you know, you're getting value out of it, you're getting relationship capital,
Yeah.
you're gonna make deals, you're gonna have some fun. I mean, it's a great time.
That's the key, man. You got to balance out the fun and the work aspect, right? Like nobody wants to go to a great city and then sit in a conference room from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Like that's not interested for anybody, right? So that's why we go, you know, what do we do? 9 to 3:30, 9 to 4-ish. We break and then we do an awesome social activity, go out, see the town, try to see stuff that's only in that town, have a good time.
And you're gonna go.
And that's where the magic happens, right? That's where the conversations happen.
Exactly.
At the bar, dancing, having fun, smoking a stogie outside, overlooking the lake. You know, it's like that's where the real depth of connection occurs.
It was funny when I went to Austin. My goal there was to meet the crew from Charleston. So when I got there, I mean, I watched them all on social media through you. And then, so I linked up with all of those guys.
All the early Spill the Beans folks.
Yeah, exactly. So I meet all of those people in Texas, and they're an hour and a half away.
I know, right?
So it's crazy.
Yeah, and then obviously you've gotten into deeper connections.
Oh, absolutely.
With them, right? Like now you're in Kelly's local mastermind that meets I think 4 times a year, and
Dusty
she's got
and
a great local group.
Yeah,
Dusty, a stud. You know, it's just these people become your friends.
Right, absolutely.
You know, like. I don't know. I was friends with my friends from elementary school and high school because we lived in the same zip code, you know? And I don't know, we like playing basketball together and stuff. Now, I like doing deals. I like doing real estate. I like talking shop. I like just hanging out. I like being able to go on vacation with people who can afford going on vacation in nice places, right? And it's just not taking anything away from my friends from growing up or anything like that. I love them to death. It's just they're on a different trajectory, right? A different path. And so when I go back and I see them, we have a ton of fun, but all the conversations are in the past, right? Remember when we did this? Remember when we did that?
Yep.
They're not really talking about the future. When I sit down with you, right, and some of the other, like Dusty and Callie, we're talking about what else can we do, right? What's some other cool stuff? Getting messages from Caleb Pearson this morning. He's like, dude, we need a jet. Like, let's get a jet. Why don't we have a jet
where's
yet?
The jet?
Yeah.
Where's the jet?
I'm like, what are we doing? I was like, I got too much other stuff on my plate, right? I'm too busy doing deals.
2025?
It'll probably happen by the end of next year, I think.
Like it.
Dude, they're not that bad, right?
No.
And we know enough people locally. It'll be headquartered in Charleston. We'll fly it around. We'll charter it when we're not using it. But, dude, it's we can do a jet mastermind.
Exactly.
Right? Like, hey, what do you guys want to do? You guys want to go up to New York City for a steak or something? Hey, great. Jump on the jet. Let's fly up there, mastermind for 2 hours, have an amazing steak dinner, and then just fly back. Everybody will be back in bed by 11 p.m., right? like, dude.
Sign me up for that one.
It's a pretty cool, opportunity. People don't have that opportunity. And if you could offer that for $2,000 a seat or something like that, and you understand, you think at a different level when you're on a jet. Right? Like you're like, damn, there's other levels to life. There's other levels to wealth. And then you're flying in the sky and you see like a bigger jet coming over there. And you're like, damn, I need to make more money, right? Yep. Like, there's other levels way beyond mine. And it just opens up your mind, dude. And like, the sad thing is, seeing your kids, and as kids, they're like, oh, what kind of car do you want to drive? Well, I want to drive a Batmobile that has wings that can go into outer space and do and blah, 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 all this stuff, like when you're a kid, right? And then all of a sudden, like, people grow up and they get the shit kicked out of them in high school and college and just real world life, and people just beating them down about, and all of a sudden, 5 years out of school, they're like, what kind of car do you want? Something reliable, right? Something that gets good gas mileage, like something goes A to B and just, and you're like, dude, what happened to the dreaming, Like, what happened to where is that? There's so much opportunity out there. I drive, dude, I'm looking at real estate, just playing around on it in Charleston, South Carolina. Dude, every house in the old village, every house in Sullivan's, dude, everything's $2 to $4 million. Right. Everything. And I'm like, minimum, right? Like Sullivan's Island, you can't even get on a Sullivan's Island, I don't think, for $2.5, $3 million. Right. And that's for like a tear down property, right?
One you don't want to live in.
Yeah, if you want to be on the water, you're looking at $8 to $10 million. And so you're like, how much money is out there? I want a Zillow app that shows the value of properties, you know what I mean? But it shows, what does that person do, right? Yep. What does that person do? Absolutely. What is that person? Can you imagine, like, there's so much money out there. Like, I don't know, who made these bricks, formed these bricks, and then sold it to this hotel? You know, like the paint company, the furniture company, the landscapers. Like, dude, there's so many different ways. Who made the Christmas lights? There's so many different ways out there that people are building wealth. It's wild to me.
Yep.
Anyways, so what does the next 3 to 5 years look like?
Well, I don't do 3 to 5 anymore.
12 months?
I go from mastermind to mastermind.
Oh, I like it. Yep. Three months at a time, huh?
Well, maybe not even that. I mean, I have goals when I leave every mastermind, and that's the plan.
There's got to be something that's the vision point, right?
Well, I had said 14. The first commercial empire call, I think it was 1,400 doors was kind of my number.
Why 1,400?
14 is my favorite number, and I want over 1,000.
All right. All right.
Well, and then I went and did the math, and that gives me the lifestyle I want.
Great.
Long-term goal, like we talked about earlier, I'd like to have that Hallmark movie, Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I want the lodge or the inn in the mountains.
Yeah.
But I love the way you did the mountain house. It's paying for itself, and so that's take a liability that I want and create an asset out of it.
You can do it sooner than you think.
Oh, absolutely.
And what's crazy, dude, is like these high, expensive properties, like the very luxury type properties, it's not just anybody who owns a $3 million house, right? It's typically a business owner. It's typically somebody who understands personal finance.
Right.
It's typically somebody who is open potentially to seller financing. Right? So like all these deals, the island, I got seller finance.
Yep.
The mountain house, I got seller finance. I'm working on another mountain house. Made an offer last night, seller financing, right? And they're open to it.
Absolutely.
Right? I put 10 to 15% down instead. I can bring on investors, even raise the capital if I want, and give them access to the property, and then rent it out on an Airbnb schedule, and then be able to use it 3, 4, 5. I mean, realistically, how often are you going to go up to your mountain house? I don't know, 4 times, 5 times, maybe 6 times a year at the most. So you rent it out the rest of the year, let it pay for itself, and guess what? When you're ready to retire or whatever, it's owned free and clear. You don't have to rent it anymore.
I took the same exact principle from what you did with the mountain house, and I put it into, I just bought a farmhouse, a couple of acres, and we're going to renovate it, and we're going to Airbnb it. We're going to lease out some spots for some hunters. We're going to have, remember I talked to you about coming down to hunt?
Let's do it.
And so we're going to take a liability and turn it into an asset. But I wanted a place for my family to gather for Christmas and Thanksgiving and not have to go to somebody's house.
Yep.
So that was the purpose. But then I started thinking, well, how can I buy this and not cost me anything?
Yep.
So we did seller financing.
I love it.
And it's going to work out great. So by next year we'll be up and running, I think, on it.
Dude, I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome. Good for you. So that's good. So you're going mastermind to mastermind on the goals, and then from so what do the next 90 days look like?
90 days
between now and the next. Oh, I guess it's really 75 days until Vegas.
We're trying to ramp up, getting more deals, getting some more money coming in, so that we want to flip. We want to double the number of flips we're doing right now.
Yeah.
This year we'll probably end up around 20, 25. Next year we want to try to break that 50 a year mark. Yeah. Try to do a little wholesaling. So we're going to add a few more people to the team.
Cool.
And so by the time we get to Vegas, hopefully we'll be.
What about the buy and holds?
I'm going to keep doing it. Going to get into the multifamily, but just haven't found a good deal. We've been trying to work on.
You don't have any yet, right?
I've got 2 small mobile home parks. That's the only multifamily I've got.
Yeah, that's good.
Buy and holds, we're going to, as the deals come in, we're going to grab them.
I mean, dude, you got a construction background too, though, right? Like, why not go build something? You're in a primo location, man.
We're actually getting ready to build 10 to 15 new homes to sell.
Okay.
And we are looking at building some.
Why sell anything? Why sell anything? Right. You obviously got to put some food on the table.
Right.
Right. But why not syndicate? Give the investors a good return. Take an acquisition fee, put food on the table that way, and then hold.
The rent, what we can get in rent versus what we could make off of them, the numbers don't work.
Return on equity kind of thing.
Yeah. So, but we'll use that money we make to buy more holds. So that's kind of what I do. I flip to buy more.
Got it.
To keep.
So you're flipping, taking that income, dumping it into
long-term.
Do you do any passive investing into other people's projects at all?
Getting ready to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done. I mean, obviously, I've done a ton of raising money for other people's deals that we're then asset managing with them or involved, maybe sponsoring a loan with or whatever. But like my own cash, I've always really just like sat on it or dumped it into some of my own like very unique properties that weren't great returns, but they were like my historical office building in Cleveland, right? Like that, use my own cash, or my beach house, or some of these really unique type properties. And I have a few investments out there. Really not too many though, but like there's a few out there where I just have some notes on properties, a couple $100,000 here, $300,000 there, $50,000 over there, dude. And it's mailbox money, man. I don't have to think about it. I see it deposit. I was like, man, that's nice, right? Like that's really good to have.
But you have to have.
And you don't need to have a ton though.
No.
Right? Like one of the things that I started doing was like I started selling my properties at the price that I wanted it at. I can only offer you $2 million. Well, I need 2.2, but I'll carry a note.
Right.
And I put a $200,000 note. Give me $2 million. Pay back all the investors. Take a couple bucks off the table, and then I got a $200,000 note that's going to pay me for the next 5 to 7 years.
Yep.
So like, I didn't even have to put up any money, right? I didn't have to lend anybody any money. It's just the way that I structured it on the sell side creates all these notes, and I'm getting paid up front, right? And it's just, how many of those can you do, man? I think you can do a lot.
Yeah, I never thought about doing it until I got into the masterminds and actually meeting some people, some good operators that you could trust to put, your money into. Mm-hmm. And that's
the key, right?
Exactly.
It can't be somebody who's doing their first 2 deals, 5 deals.
Now I'm joint venturing with some of my agents that I'm teaching to flip, and it's kind of hands off. I'm just kind of guiding them through it, so I'm making some money that way as well. So
or if you can kind of control it, or put yourself in a position that you can't get burned, and you can take over the project at least. If it starts faltering, those are good deals to kind of just help somebody else get rolling, believe in them enough, at the same time make a good return, but cover your assets, right?
Yep.
So that's good, man. It's a great conversation. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Appreciate the friendship, and excited to go get
Absolutely.
some steak and have a couple beers tonight.
Absolutely.
All right,
Sounds
buddy.
good.
Hope you guys got a ton of value out of that. Jake's such a good dude. If you're not connected with him on social media, he's putting out a ton of content. He's really been ramping that up over the past few months. So definitely connect with him on social. We'll tag him. He'll be in all the links and stuff. And connect with him, right? He's got a great story. He's done a lot of really cool stuff. And coming from law enforcement, leaving that, going full-time into real estate, just impressive, man, what he's done in the past 18 to 24 months. And I can't imagine what he's going to do in the next 24 months. So super proud of him. And again, if you got some value out of this, please like it, share it, comment it, give me your biggest takeaway. And again, share it with somebody else that you might get some value, that also might get some value out of it. So until next time, see you on Spill the Beans.